A reading from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 2, beginning at verse 1. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem asking, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we have observed his star at its rising and have come to pay him homage." When the king, Herod, heard this, he was frightened, and all of Jerusalem with him. And calling together all of the chief priests and the scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for it has been written by the prophets, 'And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judea, are by no means least among the rulers of Judea, for from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel.'" Then Herod secretly called the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word so that I may also pay him homage." When they had heard the king, they set out. And there ahead of them went the star that they had seen in its rising, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary. And they knelt down and they paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left to their own country by another road. The story of the visit of the Magi. You know, it's one of those stories that we often rush to during this season of Christmas. And here I am, in a sense, rushing to it once again. I say we rush to it because we often put those wise men, those magi, right there in our nativity scenes along with the shepherds, when in truth they probably didn't arrive until much after Jesus had been born. Could be a year or two after Jesus was born that they finally do arrive. Perhaps they saw the star the night Jesus was born, but this was before Delta Airlines and they simply couldn't get there in one day. The other thing that is kind of an oddity, or something that we probably mistaken in terms of this story of the Magi, is the number 3. You see, while there are 3 gifts mentioned in this story, there's never a mention of how many Magi there were. In fact, most people who know about this stuff would probably say this was probably a caravan of Magi who were coming. It just so happens they have 3 gifts. Now, this makes for a great prop in our Christmas pageants, but it's probably not accurate when it comes to the story of the Magi. You see, really what this story is about is not about the gifts. It's not about the number of Magi who came. It's really about the gift that God gave them, namely salvation. This is what this story is truly all about. Epiphany, which is celebrated on January 6th, 12 days after the coming of Jesus, the day that he was born on Christmas. This story of Epiphany is really about the appearance that God makes now to all people. The Magi, who represent the sinful Gentile people outside the realm of the chosen people, the Jews. This appearance that God makes to the Magi through Jesus is really what we are celebrating there. It's this moment where God's love is received by all of humanity. It's a recognition that that gift of love is for all humankind. That's what happens on Epiphany Sunday. Epiphany, which means appearance. God has made God's appearance to all people. You see, if you look at this story, one of the things that I find interesting is that the Magi are really seen as the very first who will bow down and worship Jesus as King. We see other celebrations of Jesus, it is true. We see the shepherds celebrating. We see other stories of people celebrating the gift of Jesus, but it's truly the Magi who are the first to recognize this Messiah as King, bowing down and bringing gifts. But again, it isn't so much about the gifts that they bring. It's about the gift that God gives. The gift of love and grace that is poured down upon them. It was that gift that really motivated them to go on their journey. You see, as 1 John 4:19 says, we love because God first loved us. It's almost as if that's what we see happening in the story of the Magi. And how did they get there? They followed a star. That's how they got to their destination. Following the star that God had provided to them so that they might, on their own terms as stargazers, discover the gift that is at the end of that journey. The gift that is at the end of their road to discovery. Now, in our church, we have what we call our Star Gift Sunday. And that's usually the first Sunday of the new year. This year it's January 3rd. And so this coming Sunday, January 3rd, we are going to be celebrating Star Gift Sunday. Unfortunately, we can't give out our star gifts as we normally give them out. Normally people come forward for communion and we give them an opportunity to grab a star that's on the top of a big basket of stars that are there. And on that star, there's a word, and this word is a word that they are meant to ponder throughout the coming year to see how God might lead them through discovering and understanding that word. It's our own little journey. It's our own path to discovery, not unlike what the Magi's were experiencing. So this year, what we're going to do, because we're not going to be worshiping in person, is we're going to have two different ways that you can get a star gift. One is after worship, beginning at about 11 o'clock, you're invited to drive by the church. We'll have a basket there that will be filled with stars. Now, here's what you don't do. You don't search through the stars until you find one you like. You just grab whatever's on top. And then you take that time to ponder that word throughout the year and see where God may be leading you. The other way you can get it, if you're not in the Brighton area, can't drive by the church on Sunday, is that we've developed, actually one of our college students, our very talented college students, found a way of developing a program that will allow you to randomly pick a star word for yourself this year. And so we're going to make that available to you through Constant Contact. We're going to have a link that's going to take you there. And so that's another way you can get the star gift. Of course, you can also call the church office and let us know, and we'll mail you one. But the idea of this star gift is the same thing that we see in this story as it unfolds of these Magi who are following their own star to see what they might discover. At the end of their journey was the love and grace of God that comes to them from Jesus Christ. And my thought is that your star gift will probably lead you to the same place. Maybe taking your own different path, one that's unique to you, and yet one that will lead you back to understanding who God is and what God is doing in your life. So, Epiphany, it's still a few days away. Yes, we're rushing these poor guys to get there quicker. And yet it's one of those things that we simply have got to ready ourselves to celebrate. So, Happy New Year to you all, but most importantly, Happy Epiphany. May God bless you this year with an appearance that God makes in your life and a discovery at the end of your search. Thanks so much.